Imagine the scene: as tourists snap photos of spectacular sunsets, certain individuals move discreetly through the same beaches, restaurants, and nightlife venues, observing potential opportunities. They look for specific indicators of vulnerability: solo travelers, those appearing disoriented or unfamiliar with their surroundings, individuals seeking connection or authentic local experiences. Safety resources suggest travelers exercise caution in unfamiliar surroundings. While the majority of visitors experience no issues during their stays, travel advisories regularly remind tourists to maintain awareness of their surroundings and personal safety, regardless of destination. Welcome back to our continuing investigation into the perplexing disappearance of Sudiksha Konanki. In our previous episodes, we've explored two leading theories that might explain what happened to this bright young student on the shores of Punta Cana. Our first episode examined the possibility of an accidental swimming incident, how the deceptively beautiful waters of the Dominican Republic conceal challenging currents and underwater hazards that affect multiple visitors each year, often leaving minimal evidence. We meticulously analyzed the weather conditions, tide patterns, and known water safety concerns that might have been present that March morning. In our second installment, we turned our attention to the concerning testimony and behavior of Joshua Riibe, whose account of events raised questions among investigators. We explored the inconsistencies in his statements, the unusual timing of his movements, and the curious gaps in surveillance footage that have led some to question his potential knowledge of Sudiksha's disappearance. Today, we venture into perhaps the most troubling possibility of all, a theory that aligns with documented safety challenges throughout the region but remains unproven in Sudiksha's specific case. Could this promising young student from Pittsburgh have encountered safety issues that occasionally affect travelers in vacation destinations? As we explore this possibility, we'll examine not just abstract statistics but the real-world challenges in tourist destinations, the specific factors that might have placed Sudiksha in a vulnerable position, and how similar cases have unfolded in picture-perfect destinations that harbor unexpected challenges beneath their sunlit surfaces. The Dominican Republic presents visitors with a vision of paradise: stretches of golden sand meeting crystal blue waters, lush palm trees swaying in gentle breezes, and vibrant culture at every turn. Tourism promotional videos showcase smiling vacationers enjoying carefree days at all-inclusive resorts and adventurous excursions through tropical landscapes. Over 6 million tourists visited annually before the pandemic, making it the Caribbean's most popular destination. What these glossy promotions rarely show is the multifaceted reality that exists in parallel with this vacation fantasy. Behind the carefully maintained resort properties and beyond the closely monitored tourist zones lies a different side of many vacation destinations, one where certain safety concerns exist alongside the beauty. The contrast can be significant. In popular tourist areas, some individuals may identify visitors who appear unfamiliar with their surroundings. According to travel safety resources, tourists should remain aware of their surroundings in any destination, as vacation environments can sometimes create situations where visitors may be more vulnerable than in their home environments. The serene beach where Sudiksha Konanki was last seen presents a jarring contrast to the possibilities we must consider. Security footage captured her walking toward the shoreline that March morning, appearing relaxed and at ease in her vacation environment, showing no signs of potential concerns that might have awaited. To accurately assess whether general safety issues could be a factor in this case, we need to understand who Sudiksha was and the specific circumstances of her trip. Sudiksha Konanki was a 20-year-old University of Pittsburgh student. While she had Indian heritage, she was an American student, not an international student visiting from India as incorrectly suggested in some reports. Her academic record showed exceptional promise, with professors describing her as intelligent, diligent, and thoughtful. Importantly, Sudiksha was staying at a 5-star resort in Punta Cana with friends, not traveling alone on a budget. She had traveled to the Dominican Republic during a brief academic break, surrounded by the relative security of a reputable accommodation. Despite these protective factors, experts note that certain circumstances could still apply in any traveler-specific situation. On the morning of her disappearance, Sudiksha had temporarily separated from her travel companions when she went to the beach, creating a window where she was momentarily on her own, which safety experts identify as a time when travelers might face increased vulnerability. Dr. Elena Vasquez, who specializes in travel safety patterns in the Caribbean, explains, even visitors staying at luxury resorts can face unexpected situations during moments of separation from their group. This is why travel advisories often recommend maintaining consistent contact with companions, even during brief separations. Additionally, while Sudiksha wasn't facing financial pressures that might lead to risky cost-saving decisions, her age demographic and potential interest in authentic cultural experiences beyond the resort boundaries could still represent factors that might influence her decisions about interacting with unfamiliar situations or individuals. These considerations don't prove any specific scenario occurred in Sudiksha's case, but they illustrate how even travelers in seemingly secure situations can face certain risk factors during specific moments or circumstances. If safety issues were involved in Sudiksha's disappearance, dramatic scenarios with obvious signs of distress likely weren't involved. Modern safety concerns in vacation destinations often involve more subtle approaches. Picture this: a friendly local approaches a visitor on the beach, perhaps offering information about the best spots to watch the sunset or recommendations for authentic local cuisine beyond the resort. The conversation feels natural, even serendipitous, exactly the kind of cross-cultural exchange many travelers hope for. This initial contact establishes rapport and allows assessment of the person's situation, language skills, and whether they're alone. According to travel safety experts, concerning situations in tourist areas often begin with seemingly chance encounters. Travel advisories typically warn that these interactions can sometimes lead visitors into uncomfortable situations. The initial conversations typically feel genuine and positive, with no indication of potential concerns. The next phase typically involves movement away from public spaces. The new acquaintance might invite the person to visit a local establishment away from tourist zones, offer transportation to authentic experiences, or extend invitations to private gatherings. Safety reports indicate that some individuals even establish preliminary contact through social media or dating applications before visitors arrive in the country, creating a false sense of familiarity when meeting in person. What makes these situations particularly concerning is their gradual nature. There's rarely a clear moment where alarm bells would ring for the person involved. Instead, a series of seemingly normal decisions leads them progressively further from safety. By the time the situation reveals its true nature, individuals are typically far from public spaces, separated from their belongings, and potentially already transported away from the original location. A particularly troubling aspect documented in travel safety resources involves beverages that may affect awareness. Some reports mention individuals being offered refreshments that cause disorientation, memory gaps, and reduced awareness. This methodology could explain how someone like Sudiksha, who by all accounts was intelligent and cautious, could disappear from a public beach without signs of distress that would attract attention. The geography of island destinations creates challenging conditions for locating missing persons, particularly in cases involving rapid movement. To understand why finding someone who has faced challenging circumstances becomes so enormously difficult, we need to examine these unique geographical characteristics. From tourist enclaves like Punta Cana, where Sudiksha disappeared, well-maintained highways connect to major urban centers like Santo Domingo and Santiago within hours. These cities, with populations in the millions, offer countless locations where individuals could potentially be taken, creating needle-in-a-haystack search conditions that overwhelm even well-resourced investigations. But island geography presents additional complications. The Dominican Republic shares the island of Hispaniola with Haiti, creating a land border that, despite official checkpoints, has areas with varying levels of monitoring. According to border security experts, unofficial crossing points exist in certain sections. Even more challenging is the maritime dimension. Extensive coastlines feature numerous small harbors, private docks, and isolated coves from which boats can depart with minimal oversight. A person transported from Punta Cana could potentially be on a vessel headed to nearby islands within hours of initial departure, before search operations have even begun. The window for locating individuals in concerning cases is extraordinarily narrow, explains Carlos Mendez, a regional safety expert. Within 24 to 48 hours, people can be moved multiple times, crossing boundaries that exponentially complicate investigation and recovery efforts. Travel safety resources note that once a person is moved internationally, locating missing individuals becomes exponentially more difficult, as investigations must navigate multiple jurisdictions, languages, and legal systems with varying levels of cooperation and resource commitment. To understand why certain safety issues must be considered as a possible explanation in Sudiksha's case, we should examine the documented realities in the region. Travel advisories note that visitors should remain aware of their surroundings and exercise appropriate caution in tourist areas throughout the Caribbean. These resources specifically mention that travelers from various regions, including other parts of the Caribbean, Asia, and Latin America, have occasionally faced safety challenges in certain locations. This confirms that foreign nationals like Sudiksha, not just local citizens, should maintain awareness while traveling. A particularly important aspect to consider is that safety concerns can exist even in popular tourist areas. According to travel safety networks, visitors should maintain awareness in tourist locations throughout the region, including coastal beach towns. Punta Cana, where Sudiksha disappeared, is precisely such a location. These situations don't exist in isolation, they function within complex networks that include various individuals. Travel advisories sometimes note concerns about how effectively certain issues are addressed, which creates additional challenges for investigation and visitor safety. Many Caribbean nations have made efforts to address these issues, establishing specialized police units and improving visitor protection. However, safety assessments suggest that opportunities for improvement remain, creating an environment where travelers should maintain appropriate awareness. Understanding these realities doesn't mean any specific scenario definitely occurred in Sudiksha's case, but it establishes that several possibilities should be considered within the documented context of regional safety considerations. If safety issues were indeed connected to Sudiksha's case, understanding the investigative challenges helps explain why such cases often remain unresolved for extended periods, if they're solved at all. When Sudiksha was reported missing, authorities faced a complex investigative puzzle. The initial focus likely centered on the beach area where she was last seen, operating under the swimming incident theory that our first episode explored in detail. Search teams would have examined the shoreline and nearby waters, looking for any sign of a swimmer in distress. However, if other scenarios were involved, this focus on the immediate area would have been searching for evidence in exactly the wrong location. With each passing hour, the geographic scope of where Sudiksha might be located would expand exponentially, quickly exceeding the practical search capacity of even the best-resourced law enforcement agencies. The evidence challenges are equally daunting. Unlike other situations that leave physical evidence, the initial stages of concerning incidents often appear completely normal to witnesses. Someone willingly leaving a beach with a new acquaintance, accepting a ride, or entering a local establishment doesn't trigger the same alarm as visible distress would. An additional complication in Sudiksha's case would be the resort setting itself. Five-star resorts typically maintain controlled perimeters with security personnel and surveillance systems. However, these systems have limitations: cameras don't cover every angle, security staff can't monitor every guest, and beach areas often represent vulnerable boundaries between resort property and public spaces. The jurisdictional complexity creates additional friction. Cases involving foreign nationals require coordination between multiple agencies, each with different protocols, priorities, and resources. Language barriers further complicate identification and witness interviews, with crucial details potentially lost in translation. Perhaps most significantly, if organized activities were involved, they would likely operate with sophisticated awareness. Such operations might monitor official activities, adapt routes and methods when investigations increase in certain areas, and maintain layers of separation between different participants, making comprehensive investigation extremely challenging. Understanding potential risks in destinations isn't about spreading fear but empowering travelers through awareness. If safety concerns were involved in Sudiksha's case, what measures might provide protection for others? Simple awareness of how concerning situations typically begin, through friendly encounters that gradually move people away from public spaces, creates heightened vigilance towards certain types of interactions. Even for travelers staying in secure resort environments, understanding the risks associated with temporarily separating from one's group can inform safer decisions. Established safety protocols for travelers include maintaining regular communication with companions, establishing check-in times when temporarily separating, and sharing location information. These simple practices create accountability structures that make isolated individuals less vulnerable. Technology offers additional protection layers that weren't widely available even a decade ago. Location-sharing applications that allow friends or family to monitor movement patterns, emergency alert systems that function internationally, and regular check-ins with companions all create safety nets that may deter potential concerning situations for isolated travelers. Behavioral awareness is equally important. Safety specialists recommend maintaining healthy skepticism toward unusually friendly strangers, particularly those offering experiences, opportunities, or assistance that would involve leaving public areas. Legitimate tour guides and service providers have verifiable credentials and typically operate through established businesses that can be researched in advance. For students like Sudiksha traveling during academic breaks, university programs increasingly provide specific travel safety training that includes recognizing risks. These programs emphasize the importance of group travel, using only official transportation services, and researching destinations thoroughly before arrival. The vast majority of travelers to the Dominican Republic never encounter serious problems, notes Dr. Vasquez. However, understanding specific safety considerations helps travelers make choices that significantly reduce their vulnerability to the rare but serious situations that do exist. As detailed in our previous episodes, Sudiksha Konanki remains missing despite extensive search efforts spanning both the Dominican Republic and international resources. The investigation continues to pursue multiple threads simultaneously, including various possibilities alongside the swimming incident theory and the questions surrounding Joshua Riibe's account. International agencies continue coordinating with Dominican authorities, with the FBI providing technical assistance and other agencies maintaining pressure for thorough investigation. Sudiksha's family and friends have maintained a presence in the Dominican Republic, working tirelessly to keep attention focused on the search while navigating the emotional devastation of their ongoing ordeal. Community support has emerged both locally and globally. In the Dominican Republic, volunteer groups have organized additional search efforts, particularly focusing on areas beyond the initial beach location. Online, social media campaigns maintain visibility for Sudiksha's case, sharing her photo and story to keep public awareness high. Whether safety issues explain Sudiksha's disappearance remains unknown. What is certain, however, is that her case has raised crucial awareness about factors that might place travelers in vulnerable situations and the importance of maintaining safety awareness even in seemingly idyllic vacation settings. The possibility that Sudiksha Konanki encountered a safety incident represents more than just one theory in a mysterious disappearance. It illuminates broader patterns of vulnerability that affect travelers globally and highlights the contrast between tourism marketing and on-the-ground realities in various destinations. While we may never know with certainty what happened to Sudiksha on that March morning in Punta Cana, examining her case through the lens of traveler safety provides valuable insights that may protect future visitors. Her disappearance serves as a powerful reminder that paradise destinations require the same careful attention to personal safety as any other location. The beach where Sudiksha walked that morning continues to welcome new visitors daily. Tourists still spread their towels on the same sand, swim in the same waters, and enjoy the same breathtaking views, largely unaware of the mystery that unfolded there. This parallel reality, tourism continuing while questions remain unanswered, underscores the importance of awareness without alarmism. For the millions who will visit the Dominican Republic and similar destinations in the coming years, understanding specific regional considerations allows for informed decision-making that balances enjoyment with appropriate caution. Simple precautions: maintaining awareness even in luxury resort settings, avoiding temporary isolation, and exercising healthy skepticism toward overly friendly strangers, can significantly reduce vulnerability without diminishing the travel experience. For the bright young student who disappeared on what should have been a carefree vacation with friends, we continue to seek answers. Whether those answers will be found in the challenging currents explored in our first episode, the suspicious circumstances surrounding Joshua Riibe from our second investigation, or in the concerning situations we've examined today remains to be seen. What's certain is that Sudiksha's story deserves to be told, her case deserves resolution, and the lessons from her disappearance may help protect others who follow in her footsteps to the beaches that remain both breathtakingly beautiful and worthy of mindful awareness from every traveler.
If you enjoy deep dives into true crime, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next story. Until next time, friends!